Hi and welcome to Mike's Corner. In this episode, I need to fix a DualShock controller for the PlayStation 5 because of the dreaded stick drift. However, I'm kind of fed up of using the solder suckers that you've literally got to hold in one hand and have the solderiron in the other and try and work them together. But AliExpress appears to have the answer. So without further ado, for season 2 of Mike's Corner, let's have a look at the solder sucker with built-in solderiron. Let's get unboxing. Heavy box, right. 2 gloves for 2 hand injuries. Yes. Okay, what do we got now? So we have literally a plain box. We have one little label on it, which just is your typical AliExpress label. So not really much to see here. So let's get the box open and have a look. It's very surgical on the gloves on. Right, so we've got some nice packaging. There's bubble wrap here. Let's see what we've got here. Fighting it to take it out. Okay, so here is the device. Now you've probably seen these all over AliExpress and like eBay, for example. And, you know, I really needed something, but I didn't want to spend so much money that other people spend because I just wanted something quick, simple and easy to do. And this was relatively cheap. So let's find out how much this was, shall we? So the price of this was £13.99, so £14. So, you know, most solder suckers cost over 100. So I'm not expecting much, but if it does what I need it to do, I'd be happy. So it looks like we get some tips that come with it. So let's have a little look to see what these were. Much harder to do things when you've got the gloves on. So are they all the same? Or are they just different size ends? They are definitely different size ends. As you can see there, all different size ends. So that's handy. I wish that the actual end on these was a little bit thinner for like smaller areas to solder, because this is quite a thick area. But we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and see how it works. Let's move them over there. And we have some very, very simple instructions here. So I'm going to take it apart just to have a quick look to see how easy it would be to clean it. I don't think this is something you can actually, is it just a one-pager? No, it's pretty much that. So let's have a quick look at the actual device. Now, they don't do it in a UK plug, which is handy. However, they do it in a Euro plug. So I can use a converter for this. They'll just lop off the end and put a UK plug on it. So let's have a look what we've got here. I am a little bit concerned that is on a wonky angle. If you look at that, that's not 100% straight. It's on an upward spiral. Not spiral, sorry. So it's not 100% straight. It's just wonky. It's looking up a little bit. But let's see the construction of this. So that's interesting. That's I could probably just pull that out if I wanted to. The actual wire for the solderiron is going through there. I can actually feel it if I give it a squeeze. So the wiring's coming through here with the sucking mechanism inside here. So let's have us unscrew it and see what it looks like for the actual mechanism. Okay. So there's not like a normal regular solder sucker. You have a kind of metal rod that sticks through and goes all the way through down into it, and then when it sucks it up, it kind of brings up the solder and sucks everything up with it. Oh, okay, so it's just a magnet. So it's a magnetic coil inside here, and every time you press this button, it will activate the magnetic coil. which will in turn suck, go from, I'd say, this position to that position. Now what I like about this is they don't have that metal rod, and they don't have a plunger that on the original solder suckers is a plunger that goes down into the barrel, and when it comes up it sucks up the solder, and over time of using the solder sucker it can make the solder sucker get clogged up very badly really, and stop the performance of the solder sucker from actually doing anything decent. So I like the idea that it doesn't have that. Now let's see how easy this is to put back together once I have removed it. So pretty straightforward, and then that back onto there. I definitely don't think this is something you'll be able to do if this was hot, but luckily it doesn't have that restriction that normal solder sucker does, so that is happy days on that front. Right, so we're all sealed back up again. I'm going to go and grab a converter for this, and we'll try to unsolder the joysticks from this DualShock 5. So while we wait for the soldering to warm up on the solder sucker, I've just plugged it in, and the kickback on the actual solder sucker mechanism is pretty good. If I press it, watch the kickback. That's pretty fierce. That's pretty good. So I'm really hoping that the amount that this can suck up will make light work of the actual DualShock. So let's wait for it to heat up and then give it a shot. Hopefully the Solderiron is up to temperature now. There is a little bit of smoking going on, which, yeah, okay, it's a new Solderiron, so yeah, okay. So let's try and get some of the solder out of some of these. So I put the larger end on, and let's give it a shot. So there's a number of areas I have to unsolder. So let's just see if we can actually do one of them. Okay. Maybe I went for a slightly larger nib than I needed to, because that's not doing anything. I can hear it trying to suck, but it's literally doing nothing. So let's try and change the end for a smaller one and see if that works any better. So I've now put the slightly smaller end on it, and we are now up to temperature, and let's try again. So let's see if this does anything. I'm not having much luck so far. I can see that it's trying to do something. Now, it could just mean that we need to put some flux on it to see if it will loosen up the solder that's already on there and take it off. So let's add a little bit of flux and see if that helps. Okay, so I'll add a little bit of flux to this one, and let's see if that has any help in getting this coming loose. Okay, that seems to be working better now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go across all of these now, adding some flux to it and seeing if this can actually pull out the solder. And after I'm done, we come back and have a look. So here we have the actual joystick removed, and as you can see, the solder sucker did not a bad job of getting the solder out, so I can actually remove these. And these can be a bit of a pig to get out, and this made light work of it. So yeah, pretty good. Something happened. So when I was using this, when I was pressing the button on it to actually activate the solder sucker mechanism on it, it started to malfunction. Now, not just malfunction in a little way, malfunction in a big way. Now, what started was, when I pressed the button, it would kind of do it twice, and then that twice turned into 3 times, and then the lights went out. It dropped into blackness. This had failed catastrophically. The fact that the circuit board in here had actually burnt out a track on it, and the switch here had completely disintegrated. So this is a pretty big fire hazard. It blew the fuse in the house, and if the fuse in the house hadn't have blown, I would have said that this would have probably caught fire. So if you're looking to buy one of these, do yourself a favour and drop it straight in the bin. Now, as a little experiment, I saw if I could fix it. So I've resoldered where the broken joint was on the tracks and fitted a new dip switch in it. And yes, it's working again, but I wouldn't use it again. So to that end, I've actually bought myself a decent solder sucker, which I got a pretty good price on Amazon for, and I use that currently. But don't be going out and buying one of these. I thought it was pretty cool at first. It's junk. It's built junk, and the circuits in them are junk. The quality of everything in it is junk. It may work for 5 seconds, but after 10 minutes, it's fallen to pieces. So that brings me to the end of the first video of 2025. Nearly burning the house down, but I got a decent solder sucker out of it in the end. But if it was useful to you and you were looking to buy one of these and now it's actually stopped you from doing that, and I hope I have, then think about whacking a like and subscribe, helps me out as a channel, and we can make it bigger for this year. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next video.